Alright everyone, got something pretty interesting for you this week. Well, we all talked about the movie Scanner Darkly and the interesting rotoscoping animation technique that it applied. And ever since I've discovered that Photoshop CS4 Extended can handle video clips, I've been trying to toy with a way to make that happen with video. Now, of course, in the real process, they actually traced over frame by frame of the video to create that effect. Well, some of us really want to get that effect, but we don't want to take the time to sit there and draw over each frame of the video. So we're looking for a quick way to apply that effect or have that effect on a video clip, but do it in a fraction of the time. And I think I've got something that works pretty well here. It's not 100% like it, but it is pretty darn close. And not just the result here, but the way we apply the filters and everything like that gives you an idea of the types of things you can do to video clips with filters inside Photoshop. So here I have a video clip. It's a widescreen video clip, and you see in my timeline, if I take my playhead and just scrub through here, you can see that it's just a simple video clip of this young lady writing in a book. Well, here's what I'm going to do. You can see over here in the layers panel that it is a video layer. It's indicated by the little film icon here. Now, if I go and apply any changes to this image as it is, if I scrub to a certain part of the image and apply a filter, it's only going to apply it to that particular frame, and it will leave the rest of the clip alone. But that's not what I want. I want it to affect the entire clip as a whole, not just one individual frame. So in order to be able to do that, I'm going to need to convert this video layer into a smart object. So just like we would any other layer, I'm going to hold down my control key or simply right click directly on that layer, and we'll get the menu here and we'll choose Convert to Smart Object. Now I can apply smart filters to this layer, and it will apply it globally to the entire sequence instead of just one frame. So to achieve the effect we're going to go for, here's what we need to do. I'm going to first go into the filter menu and we're going to go and choose Blur, Surface Blur. Because what we need to do, in order to apply the next filter, we need to smooth out a lot of the detail of the images. We need to bring it to a very, very smooth finish so we can apply the outline effect that we're going to apply to it. So Surface Blur allows us to do that. It allows us to smooth out all the really hard areas of color and leaving the edge detail intact, as you can see right here. If I toggle the preview on and off, it smooths out a lot of these smoother areas or these large areas of color, but leaves the edges intact for the most part. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the radius at 15 and the threshold at 15 as well. And then we'll go ahead and click OK. And as you can see in the layers panel, it has applied it as a surface blur, which means I can go back in here. If I double click on that surface blur, I can go back in there and modify those settings right where I left off. They're at 15. If I decide I want to go higher or lower, I have that option to do that at any time. But for now, I'm going to go and leave that in place there. So now let's go and apply another filter. I'm going to go under the filter menu and we're going to choose Artistic, and we're going to choose Poster Edges. Now you can start to see the sequence is starting to take effect here. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to set the edge thickness all the way up to 10, as you can see right here. And the edge intensity is just that. It determines how dark or how intense you want the black edges to be. So in this case, I think I'm going to keep it around 2. Actually looks pretty good, I think. And we're going to go and leave the posterization at 3. So if I turn off that preview on and off, you can see it's starting to take effect. So I think that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and hit OK. Now, what I want to do here is actually change the blend mode of that filter that I've just applied. Now, ordinarily, after you apply a filter, you'd go into the Edit menu and you could choose Fade. But since we're working with smart filters, we have a little bit more freedom to play with that. It's this little icon right here next to the poster edges. I'm going to double click on that, and what that's going to do is open up my blending options. Here is where I can change the blend mode and the opacity of that particular filter. It's not the blend mode of the image or the layer, it's the blend mode of the filter itself. And what we're going to do is change the mode to Vivid Light. It'll take a minute to kind of render it out there, but once it takes effect, you can see really kind of heightens the saturation and everything like that. And it's probably a little too blown out, but we're going to take care of that in just a moment. But you can see the effect really starting to take shape. And if I really wanted to, lessen it, I could drop the opacity a little bit. Maybe I'll take it down to about 90. So, and again, this is going to be something that's going to vary with every video clip you apply it to. Now, these settings tend to work very well for this particular clip, but it might require a little bit of experimentation on your part, depending on the overall exposure of your particular video clip. So, with that set in place, I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and we're going to apply the last filter, and we're going to go under Filter to Artistic again, and this time we're going to choose Cutout. And here we're going to set the number of levels to 8. And we're going to leave the edge simplicity at 3, and we're going to set the edge fidelity at 1. Again, like the last filter, these settings may be a little different depending on your particular video clip, so it may require a little bit of experimentation. So, those in place, I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, but now we're going to go into the blend options of this particular filter, and this time we're going to change it to hard light. So now you start to see it's really coming together. It's starting to really show me those dark edges, but we're getting that really oversaturated look, so it has a kind of surreal quality about it and everything like that. So go ahead and hit OK. And just so you know, you can see that I've applied these filters in this particular order, but here's the thing. If your video clip requires it, or if you just want to see what kind of result you get, you can rearrange these filters, how they're positioned, and it will affect how it applies it to the image. Because the stacking order affects how the image is affected. You can see when I move these filters around how it's changing. Now, as I said, this particular order here works best for this scenario. But, again, try it yourself, see what kind of different things you come up with, and there you have it. So our effect is mostly done. Let's kind of like take our playhead and toggle through here and see what we've got. So I'm noticing one thing. It looks good. The saturation's there a little bit. In fact, it's probably a little too saturated, especially in the red, and you can see in the neck area right in here. So we're going to fix that with a simple adjustment layer. We're going to apply a hue saturation adjustment layer here. And what we're going to do is isolate the reds. We're going to go into the edit menu here and choose reds. And let's take the saturation down to -25. So if I could toggle the preview on and off, you can see it's made a big difference there. And we'll hit OK. And that pretty much does it. Now, for the sake of time, I've gone ahead and rendered this out as a QuickTime movie, which is what you would do here. You go under File, go to Export, Render Video, and then choose QuickTime Export, QuickTime Movie. You can change the settings here, do all of that, which I've gone ahead and done. Like I said, for the sake of time, let's open it up and have a look at what we've got here. If I hit play, you can see it's playing through. It has that kind of surreal quality to it, a little bit of that rotoscoping, but look at the plus side here. We've done this in just a matter of minutes. We didn't take each individual frame and draw it out and everything like that. So it's a quick and easy way to achieve a similar effect. It's not the exact effect unless you really wanted to take the time to go in each frame and copy, and trace it over and over again. This is perhaps an alternative to get a similar effect in a much shorter period of time. So, as I mentioned before, experiment with your video clips, different types of things like that, see what kind of different results you can come up with, and have fun with it. And we'll see you next time.